Greetings and salutations, everybody. We are back with another episode of Three Men in an Anime. It's Mecha GM here, and I'm joined, as usual, by my good friends and co-hosts, Eric Carlson and Sonic Gav Leaf. How are you guys doing tonight?
I am not dead.
That's a plus.
I am deaf in one ear, so I might be shouting a bit tonight.
Okay. So, we are covering Eric's most recent series selection tonight, Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And before any of you clowns say that, no, that's not anime, fuck you, it's Trigger.
I mean, I'm pretty sure like everyone thinks it's anime.
I know. I'm cutting it off at the pass.
Fair enough.
Oh, but it's not. It's published by Netflix, so it's not an actual.
Fuck
anime.
you, Trigger.
Trigger.
Yeah, it's Trigger.
It is Trigger. Put it this way: it's more anime than Arcane was. So
yeah,
fuck off.
Which is also a pick of mine.
Yes, and yes. I don't fucking care. Anywho, so before we get into talking about the nitty gritty of the show, because we're almost certainly going to spoil shit while we're talking about it. If you're here to find out whether we recommend the show, I think all of us will agree it is an extremely good show and well put together.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Whether we are individually enjoyed or not is an entirely different question, mostly for me.
Everyone loved this show, especially Peter.
Yeah. But yeah, do I recommend checking it out? I would say it's high enough quality it's worth giving a shot, even if it might not be your cup of tea. I am glad I watched it. I'll say that much.
Buckle up, boys.
So Peter and I now fight.
Yep.
Kinda.
Konosuba all over again.
Yeah, No. I am more convinced this is high quality than I was at Konosuba.
Okay, fair enough.
And so let's pull the Band-Aid off. I did not like this show. I believe the phrase I used after we finished was, "Man, I hated that."
Yes.
And it really sort of it ticks a lot of boxes of stuff that I generally like. Like, it is very, very heavily influenced by film noir. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of these sort of concepts in cyberpunk in general. I like this. There are a lot of elements of story. I think it's really well written. The music's incredible. The animation's spectacular most of the time. But there's something about it that I just put me completely fucking off. And I really didn't enjoy it. It was one of the least fun experiences I've had watching anything. Now, this is a me thing. I'm not going to debate the quality because it's really fucking good. It is entirely just a matter of preferences for me. So I'm just getting that I'm getting that out of the way right now, so we can actually talk about it constructively. Because it does I'm just gonna say it's right. It was not a me show. And
that was on me. I thought I was like, this is very like noir influenced and like beautifully animated with really well written characters and everything. Peter will probably like this.
Oops. Eric forgetting the fact that
Peter hates Tarantino.
Yes.
Yeah. This does feel very Tarantino.
Oh yeah. No, it strikes a lot of I mentioned that it reminded me in some ways, not in terms of actual plot or anything like that, but my reaction to it is very similar to the reaction I had to Reservoir Dogs. Which is I think probably one of Tarantino's absolute best movies, and I hated it.
Probably my favorite Tarantino movie, and I really love that movie.
Oh, I totally.
Again, this is a case of,
I get why people love that movie. Totally.
Yeah. Tarantino is Peter's Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Recognizes the talent and the skill behind it, and all this other stuff. Can't actually stand it.
Nope.
I've got that problem with Bob Dylan. He's got that problem with Tarantino.
Yep. There's something about the way Tarantino directs stuff, and I just it doesn't work for me. And that's
right.
Again, wow, Reservoir. This is a really well done movie. I am hating every moment of this.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that usual. It's that formulaic thing where, and again, this is where I think this show falls into that category of like, because it's cyberpunk. It's like you're on your own. Everything's shit. Everybody dies. The only way to get out is to keep your head down and just be the quiet one. And you might be the only person that walks away alive.
Sure, and that's in the genre. Like,
Oh, yeah,
you can't do cyberpunk without that. That's a genre requirement as much as cowboy hats and 6-shooters are for westerns.
I mean, not entirely, but largely. Like the body, like the people who buck the system generally get hammered down. Yes.
Yeah.
Not.
And the trick is to buck the system while sliding out from underneath the hammer before it comes down.
Yes, that is.
And
yes.
there's always somebody that does that in a cyberpunk movie.
Yeah. I'm sort of thinking of I'm thinking of some of the novels I have read, and there are a few where it's like, oh God, it's been a while, sir. It's been a long time since I've read either Snow Crash or Neuromancer. But like, it's not.
Molly Million's the one that slips out in Neuromancer.
Yeah, that's right.
And Snow Crash, it was the skater chick. I can't
right?
remember.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I thought I was remembering that correctly. It's been a while. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Cyberpunk. I love a lot of it in concept. As I said when we were watching it, after we were talking about it afterwards, I think I have much more fondness for the Cyberpunk derivatives than Cyberpunk itself. Like I much prefer Shadowrun to Cyberpunk as an RPG, for example. And I
of course prefer Shadowrun to Cyberpunk. One has orcs,
and honestly, part of it is the addition of the fantasy element makes it a little bit less depressing. Weirdly,
I totally grok that.
And because Cyberpunk is so sort of grounded in a actual potential possible future, and it's a little diffused with Shadowrun.
Yeah. Although I'll say, like, at this point, things like a fully immersive fully immersive virtual realities is about as possible as.
Oh, sure.
It's just not. It's.
Oh,
just
I know.
Not
there are some elements of Shadowrun that are Shadowrun's a little bit less, a little bit, not much, a little bit less bleak than Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Not a lot. As I said, very small amount. This is pretty fucking bleak. Anyways, back to Edgerunners though.
Yes.
We should talk about the show we're talking about.
Yes. So.
So just to preface as well, with these two diving into the deep depths of the history of Cyberpunk, I like The Matrix.
Yeah. Oh no, the Matrix is yeah.
Yeah, that's about my level. I am not as well versed in the Cyberpunk lore and everything else as these guys. I've played the game, the new one. None of any previous RPGs, video games, or anything like that came along. I am a fan of that kind of thing, like, things like I said, The Matrix, Johnny Mnemonic was one that I actually really enjoyed.
Johnny Mnemonic was such a butchering of the Gibson story.
Yes,
I'm a big Gibson fan.
like I said, I'm not saying I enjoyed that film. I liked the setting and the things that I took away from it. I am not familiar with the source material.
That's fair, honestly. Right. Like if you're not familiar with the
source material, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah,
but those kind of stories. I mean, they do something very similar. I don't know if it technically classes as cyberpunk, but they do something similar with. Is it Altered Carbon?
It's Altered Carbon's definitely cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Definitely falls in that genre.
I'm into that genre, but I'm not as well versed, shall we say?
That's fine.
Yeah,
Eric is much more versed than I am, honestly.
Yes, I've read a lot of Gibson. I've read a lot of Stevenson. I've played most of the tabletop RPGs, a fair amount of this video games. It's a genre I like. I have fallen out of love with it in the past.
Fair.
8 years, shall we say?
I
can't imagine why, Eric.
I think the only wall I come up against with Cyberpunk, and like you say, it's intrinsic almost to the actual setting, is that doom and gloom.
Right.
It's like here's all these really cool things that we can do now with medical technology and cybernetics, except it's all run by super rich corpos that charge you for every penny you've got. And if you do have them installed, you might go crazy because the body's not designed to take them. It's like, can't I just have rocket launchers in my arms? Please?
Yes,
Just
you
let
can.
let me do cool shit, like I don't know, my hands turn into grappling hooks. Cool. I can do Spider-Man.
Yeah, please just have buzzsaw hands. They just want robot arms. Let them have robot arms. Yes.
Yeah, I will say yeah. Anyways, but as the Edgerunners,
Edgerunners opens up with David Martinez. He's our main character.
Yep.
He's a student at Arasaka's private school, being put through there by his mom, who is a first responder, and she burns all of her money on his tuition. He hates it there, despite being a good student, because, well, all the rich corpo kids instantly recognize him as trailer trash. Well, not trailer trash. Street trash. He doesn't live in a trailer. And in 1,000 different ways, the show does a great job of showing you exactly, like, how late stage capitalism this is. Like,
oh yeah,
you think this is late stage capitalism?
No,
you ain't seen shit.
Yeah.
like it's like we see him walking to school from his apartment, and like the second he walks out the door, it's just graffiti and junkies, people strung out either on drugs, alcohol, technology, whatever else. There's this one bit where there's like it's this whole chain of things getting gradually worse. Like the bit where he gets out of his apartment by basically just dropping off the edge of the stairwell into the pile.
That's actually something I was actually going to point out. Like, the show never says it, but it's clear that the neighborhood or his building hasn't paid for trash pickup, because the stairwell is blocked up with so much trash. The only way to get out is by jumping off the fucking
Yeah, just walks off the edge and lands in the trash pile.
Yeah,
to cushion his fall. And as he walks past, you see one dude at the vending machine for like food or ramen or whatever, while simultaneously there's a junkie throwing up on the top of it.
Yep.
Or he walks a little bit further on and there's a dude with a fucking basically a sex toy.
Yes.
just strapped to his crotch, wide open in public. Everyone walking past, no one bats an eye. Whatever. It's just some fucking junkie.
They're clearly virtually fucking each other. There's two of them.
Ah, okay.
I didn't notice the second one.
I didn't either.
They're the ones lying down on top of the.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
But and as he walks
to the show.
Yeah, as he takes the train to school and then walks the rest of the way, you see how the neighborhood changes. Like, he goes from this like 80s urban hellscape vision of the future to the Apple Store.
Pretty much,
with with clean streets, gardens, like giant holographic sculptures of koi fish swimming around.
Yeah. See, that's the biggest difference you notice, and again,
sky.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's always the biggest telling point as well in most societies. They put aside space for decoration.
Yeah,
you don't get that shit in the inner city.
Yeah, it's a really well done bit of visuals, world building, just like and storytelling, like just that walk to school.
Tells you exactly like how foreign David is, probably just a mile or two away from his neighborhood.
Yep.
How segregated that this city is between the haves and have-nots.
I mean, even down to the way they live. Like, we see their apartment, and if you've ever played the game, it is literally the same apartment. They're all designed the same. It's very utilitarian. One big open plan living space, a couple of bedrooms, and a shower / kitchen, whatever else, and it's like fairly compact.
And a washing machine that charges you by the minute.
Yes. Not gonna lie, I actually kind of dig that layout. It's fairly.
It's not a bad flat. honestly.
Yeah. But then you see the sort of place he starts living in later on, which we'll get to,
Yeah.
and it's just open space. It's wasting space for the sake of wasting space because he's rich enough to do it.
So, yeah. So David like shows up at school. They have him put on his VR goggles, and yeah, he's got a bootleg software upgrade to interact with the school's whatchamacallit, because his mom couldn't necessarily afford the upgrade. Well, she gave him the money, it's better to, eat than pay for the upgrade. So he's got a bootleg, which of course crashes the school's servers.
Yep.
Which gets him in trouble. His mom gets called in. She's basically tells him like, "Hey, tells the principal, please don't take this out on him. I'm sorry. We'll pay for the damages." Da da da. On the ride home, she's berating him because, of course, she should. And he's like, "Well, I don't even know why you go through all this trouble. I don't even like it there. This place sucks." And she's like, "No, I've got big dreams for you. You deserve a good chance."
The only way to get a good life is to climb the corpo ladder. It's literally the only thing,
And you deserve a chance. You deserve a good life. You've got the talent and the skill. You just need the
opportunity.
Need a foot in the door.
Yep.
Plus, I can say with some experience, the second anyone in power starts giving you the line of maybe you should look for other opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah.
You're
fired.
It's the pre-firing. It's the talk that the principal was giving to David. It's like, maybe this isn't the right fit for you. Would you like to look for an opportunity elsewhere?
Yeah.
Fuck you. I've had that talk a few times. Can't think why.
So then they get caught in a shootout between some gangers and a corp car, and their car gets blown to pieces. His mom gets seriously injured. He's pinned inside the car. Trauma team, the private medical emergency services shows up. It's like, all right, get the client. What about these two? They're not covered. Leave them.
Yeah.
And just leaves them bleeding in the fucking street.
And this is the biggest indication of the fucking fucked up world they live in.
Yep.
Because David's mom, as we mentioned, is a medic. She's a first responder.
She works for trauma
team.
She's
a colleague.
Yeah.
Yep. But she's not covered.
She's not a client. Yeah, she's not a client. In fact, I'm sorry, the opening scene is actually watching a borged out this completely borged out psychopath walk through a squad of cops before Max Tap, the SWAT teams on steroids, show up and put him down.
Yeah. So before we go any further, for those that aren't familiar with the Cyberpunk thing, something that's going to be very important to explain, because of it comes up quite a lot and is actually one of the central themes of the show. One thing that's very common in Cyberpunk is body modification.
Yeah.
Generally through cybernetics. Almost everyone has some level of cybernetics. You basically have to get around. Like, everyone's got a chip slot in their neck for, payments or whatever else. It's like everyone's got Apple Pay built into their neck. And like ID codes and whatever else.
Yeah.
But obviously some people take it that step further, and you see people with, the eye implants for better vision, arm implants, body implants, whatever, anything you can think of, basically, it's probably going to exist somewhere. The problem is that it's
the
not always...
psychological strain is significant with
the surgery isn't always done to the most professional of levels. And even if it is, like Eric says, the psychological strain on the brain to actually take over and control all these things, as well as the body trying to reject it, can cause issues. And one of the most common one is cyberpsychosis.
Yeah.
Which is basically your brain trying to handle so much information at the same time that it starts feedbacking, and you basically go mad. You start seeing things that aren't there, enemies that aren't there. You lose control and just start going rampage.
Yeah, and
this will be important.
Yeah, and the party line is there is no way back once you go cyber psycho.
Yeah, they do advise anybody
we
that's
see several times this is quite possibly a lie. It's just that the solution requires actual empathy, which no one has the time or resources to devote to.
the only like treatment that we're repeatedly advised, but no one ever fucking listens to, is to dial back on the implants. So basically, if you've got too much and you're starting to slip, have some shit taken out, dude. Go back, go bio.
Put some meat back in.
Yeah, it really does turn out that, having actual professional therapists would be very helpful in this world.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like we see like spoilers, one of the guy who ends up being David's mentor, Maine, goes cyber psycho. He just starts losing in the middle of a job. And his girlfriend nearly pulls him out a few times before she catches a bullet and dies, and pushes him just completely irredeemably over the edge.
Yeah.
Up until David shows up and goes, "Hey dude, I'm here, I'll back you." And he gets just lucid enough to tell David to fuck off. It's done. There's only one way out at this point.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, once you start going into the meds, into the tech. I mean, even David does it once he starts. You're on a constant, like, you're on a lifetime of meds and call them immunoblockers, and unfortunately these things start to they only their effectiveness starts to reduce over time. You gain a resistance to them, and it really does seem to be like a matter of time.
I don't think that's true. I think it's mostly for people that like start pushing the limits of what they can handle.
Right.
Yeah.
And the issue with why they're pushing the limits for this is because you're always looking for an edge. Edgerunners.
Yeah.
And you're always looking at, which means you're always looking for the newest tech to jam in your body. You're always looking for some way to like scrape out an extra advantage in the day. Otherwise, you're on the meat wagon.
Yep.
And the idea of scaling back any of the advantages you've bought for something as silly as mental health is as good as suicide for a lot of these people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it like for some of the people, it literally could get them dead. Like,
yes.
And I'm
largely because of the world they live in. It's everything's commodified, including basic human life, and that's dirt cheap because there's a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's a very stark and obvious sort of, empathy, as Eric sort of basically intimated, empathy has basically been priced out. Like, that's really fucking spooky. And depressing and all too believable.
Yes.
Fuck. At any rate.
Yeah.
So yeah, his mom doesn't make it.
His mom doesn't make it. They take her to the cheap hospital. They're like, okay, cool. So she's stabilized but still unconscious. Can I see her? Nah, visitation's not part of your plan.
The rampant fucking capitalism that's got the cold, detached fucking. The weird thing is, I've worked in bereavement before.
Yeah.
And just how cold and blunt and this whole this like little segment is, kind of caught me off guard the first time I saw it. It's like, wow, that's just fucking. Oh.
Yeah. Because the doc's like, yeah, she's stabilized. Next day, it's like, she bought it. Like, complications. Your plan didn't cover those. So yeah, you want us to deliver the body to your place? You can use our in-house crematorium for this price.
Yeah, dude offers it like, he's like, "Hi, your mom's dead. Sorry about that. We couldn't do anything because we weren't paid to do it. Here's the price list for our funeral options. If you can't afford that, we've got an incinerator in the back."
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, and
the next scene you see is him collecting his mother's ashes from what is essentially a fucking vending machine.
Yep.
And it tells you everything this system sucks balls.
Oh yeah.
It's an excellent like this is all in the first episode. Like not even the first episode. They're all in the first like 10 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
This is all soap.
Just a beautiful way of setting up just how fucked up the setting is, and how much it grinds people down, and how hard it is to get anything out of it.
Yep.
And it's and yeah, here's a setting. It sucks. Now, what kind of, and because it's Trigger, how much fun can we have in it?
This show gets
The answer is a
very
lot
trigger.
of fun.
This show gets very trigger towards the end.
Yes. Now,
honestly, I'm going to be honest. Like that lunatic, over the top triggerness in the last 2 episodes, I think that saves the show for me. Thinking about it,
you know,
like,
I could see that
probably,
actually.
Like 10 years ago, I probably would have been annoyed by it, but at this point, like,
you needed the relief at that point.
Yeah, at this point, at this stage of my life, that kind of bombastic, over the top lunacy,
Well, that's the
like,
thing.
is exactly the sugar coating to make all this go down properly. That's why I've seen this 3 times now.
This is the thing of the setting. It's like, if everything's crushing down, everything's pushing down on you to the point where the pressure is building and building and building. If that release wasn't there, if that explosion of fuck you wasn't there,
Yeah.
then yeah, I can see. Yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean.
Oh no, I agree with you. If I'd been in a better mood at that point, I think it would have helped me, honestly.
Like I said, I mean, we discussed this, and I'm sure we'll get to it. The only part of that final section that I didn't like was the Matchbox cars.
Yeah.
And honestly, thinking about it, I think that lends to the fun of it, because by making them Matchbox cars, it makes it that much sillier. It's literally someone playing with their toys.
Yeah,
and you know what? The more I think about it, the more I like the Matchbox toys.
but the thing is, though, Eric, right? Imagine that scene. I've forgotten the name of the show that I was thinking of. But imagine that scene animated by, and like with the sort of attention and budget this had, by somebody who was, say, from the 80s.
Oh yeah,
the kind of guys who did things like Rouge and Z and Pat LeBar and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it would have been an entirely different vibe, and it wouldn't have had that sort of joyful lunatic fun to it.
I suppose.
And the only way you can have the actions be more realistic, like the cars being damaged and such by the collisions and such, and still give that sort of absurdist cathartic release of unreality, is if you go full Blues Brothers and have none of the cops be injured, the guys in the military guys be injured, and that is so antithetical to the setting that you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
fair enough.
The image of, like, those cars, like, being wrecked and flying, all of a sudden you see, like, the military guys climbing out and going, what the fuck just happened?
Yes.
Would be hilarious, but not...
It would shatter
It would shatter everything. It wouldn't work. Eric is actually right, I think.
Okay.
I agree with Eric is the way I should put it, honestly. Again, like, if I'd been in the right headspace going into those last 2 episodes, I think this would have done the same thing for me that it did for Eric. It just didn't.
Right.
I was in too much of a bleak mindset at that point to even appreciate that.
Right.
Like, it's just like, I was done.
And I understand that. I really do. It was also shitty timing. You were in a bad headspace when we started this show.
Yeah, it didn't help. Did not help. No, I'm 100% sure I still would not have liked the show overall, but I'd be less down on it, I think.
Yeah.
At any rate.
So anyway, David gets home with his mom's ashes, finds that rent's late, so he's locked out of the apartment, has to break into the fucking air vent. And
I think my favorite part about that, honestly, is he's less angry about it and more just, oh, for fuck's sake. And, like, it's clear he's done this before.
Oh, again. And it's like, oh, this shit again.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. He gets back. He's just lost his mom. He gets back, and there's an eviction notice on his door.
Right.
So he starts having to enter his apartment via the air vents. His washing machine is out of money. And
right.
He's refusing to even wash his clothes. And on top of that, he's then got this shit from the school about whether, how he's going to carry on going there.
Yep. Plus, he's getting harassed by his local bully.
Yeah.
We actually see beat him up before getting a ride home with his mom.
Right.
Using basically like it's actually hilarious. So he starts doing the friggin' like JoJo punch complete with the noises.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's also borrowing a lot of like he's doing a lot of the vocalizations Bruce Lee did.
yeah. And it's all because it's he
chipped.
chipped someone else's skills.
Yep.
And it's all it's all done rotely through his cybernetics.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got cybernetic arms and he's installed a kung fu chip. Basically, that's it.
Yeah. And like to the point where the punches are just stopping short of his face until the guy adjusts to where he needs to be for the punches.
It's fun. It's well done.
It's
Legit.
well done.
But yeah, David does discover
he
something.
gets a call from his like asshole bully telling him like, "Oh, your mom died, poor kitty, blah blah blah." Like seriously, what a fucking cockwagon.
Oh, that kid is pure shit. Like, dear lord.
Yeah.
He's put it this way. He's the son of a high up Arasaka corpo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to Arasaka's private school. He is, my daddy owns this place, so I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Oh no, he is a real piece of work.
Yeah. Thankfully, he doesn't last past this episode.
No.
So David eventually, so David's going through the apartment looking for shit to sell so he can like at least get his clothes clean, finish the cycle on the machine or something, and he finds a piece of military cyberware that his mom had fucking scavenged. Like,
yeah, she
high-end
finds it.
reflex enhancers called a Sandevistan.
Weird enough, he finds this inside her medical jacket.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
she's been hiding it because she's smuggling it out to somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, this is why Eric started to mention the opening scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we find out a little bit later on that she was the first responder to the cyber psycho that murdered all the cops and everything else, and she basically managed to steal one of his implants before he got dealt with.
Yep.
And she's been black market selling them on, basically.
Yeah. So David calls his one contact, his BTL dealer, called simply Ripper Doc. I love Ripper Doc. Ripper Doc's great. Ripper Doc's this gaunt, spidery motherfucker with a Jamaican accent, despite being paler than paper. With these long cybernetic arms that like he swaps out for like different surgical tools as he needs. Like Ripper Doc's great. So he calls up Ripper Doc. He's like, "Hey, how much do you think I could get for this thing?" "What? That's nothing. Fuck you. I wasn't looking to sell anyway." Later on, he calls Ripper Doc. He's like, "Hey, Doc, you said 10,000, right?" "You mean 6. Oh, what do you mean
Yeah.
it's fucking too hot to move? Fuck you." Because it turns out, yeah, it's too hot to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
It's a piece of
Sandevistan-
high-end military. It's a piece of high-end corporate military cyberware.
Yeah. So eventually David's just like, that's when David gets the call from his bully. He's like, "You know what? Fuck this shit." He goes over to Ripper Doc in person, demands Ripper Doc installs the damn thing.
Yeah, Ripper Doc's like, he thinks, oh, so you rethought your thing? He's like, no. Fuck. He actually tells him, I'm not paying you anything for it, dude. He's like, I don't want you to pay me anything for it.
"I want you to fucking install it." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, kid, sure."
You realize what that is, right? You can't handle this shit.
You can't handle it.
Not at your age,
I
dude.
don't know, know 5 people that maybe could handle it and not die. and David's like, "No, you're gonna. I want this chipped. Put it in." And it's like, "Okay."
I
Well, I
warned
tell
you.
you what, man.
Well, at least this way, I'll get it after.
When you come back crying, half cyber psycho with all your bones broken, then I'll pull it out for you, and I get to keep it. So David gets it chipped. He chipped being, you really pick up it being slang for having cyberware installed. Goes to school the next day. Doesn't bother with the goggles or his uniform, just walks right up to the bully and proceeds to kick the shit out of him using this thing.
The best part is he starts the thing off, the bully's like, aha, I'll activate my martial arts chip, aha, and then what just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out the Sandever stand basically increases your reaction times
And your
to-
perception
and your
of
perception.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
To such a degree that, like, so the way it's animated is actually excellent because when we're in David's point of view, so to speak, you see David moving and leaving these keyframes behind him as he walks around and deals with everything, as everything else is moving in extreme slow motion. When it switches back to what everyone else sees, it's just this streak of color as David moves around.
They do it once or twice, where they show the whole like process from David's point of view,
Yeah.
and then make a point of showing then like reanimating the half a second of actual like action that just actually happened in real time. And that's kind of interesting because it shows you the sort of like the speed that he's actually moving at. It's almost, well, it is inhuman.
Yep.
I will admit it's kind of a little bit off-putting because it's not just inhuman, it's kind of also, it's not even mechanical. It's almost too fast to be, even to be cybernetic for me. It's superhuman. It's literally...
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it is explicitly superhuman.
It's explicitly superhuman, and it's and I guarantee you, like, one of the things it's doing is it's like putting every part of his body into that sort of, turning off the limiters on every part of his body for that sort of hysterical strength that people and speed people get when they're panicking. It's basically hitting that switch and pumping him and increasing his reaction time so that he can do all of that shit. It's one of the reasons why he does it more than a few times. He ends up with nosebleed and passes out.
Yeah. Like I say, it's a very minor thing, and I know they've done it for the sake of the anime, but it's like it's one of those things where I'm very grounded in science and physics when it comes to like it's why I have to kind of turn my brain off when we're talking about Gundams, because Gundams will never actually work because of the physics involved in them.
Oh yeah, no, they work almost entirely on the rule of cool. It's a giant fucking robot, dude.
Yeah, but it's the same here. It's like I'm putting cybernetics in my body so I can have robotic speed, reflex, and all the rest of it, and then it goes, oh, but this is actually beyond that. You know what I mean? One really minor little niggle that's just kind of sticks in my head, but it is me just nitpicking.
Yeah. Yeah. Suspension of disbelief and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this starts David into this whole thing. He goes on the way home, runs into Lucy, someone who's basically pickpocketing people by hacking their chip jacks to pop to eject the chip so she can slip them or nick them. David catches her trying to do it to him, and they basically team up, to like do the whole car of everyone worth pickpocketing, then do the next car with him using the Sandevistan to get the chips before anyone even realizes what's going on, because that's the riskiest part. And then, he hits his limit, has a nosebleed, and passes out, and she has to call an ambulance for him. At which point, the ambulance driver's like, holy shit, do you know what this kid's chipping? Fuck you, we're going to go and we're going to rip this out of him. What do you got on you? Which leads to an excellent scene where Lucy and David end up, like, tooling down the highway on a hospital gurney.
Yeah, because the low rent medics are not exactly trustworthy either.
Right. Because everyone's desperately hungry unless you're already have more than you could possibly eat.
They're literally discussing which hospital they're going to take him to, and the medic sees the Sandevistan and she thinks, "Hey, that's worth a bit."
Yeah, that's worth $10,000. That's like 3 months' rent. Fuck you, give it to me.
Yeah.
But yes, Lucy,
yeah,
Lucy and David have agreed to partner up for a while, and this looks like Lucy's looking out for David. Not exactly.
No, because she, after getting him treated at Ripper Dog, she brings him back to her place where they have a brain dance. It's basically just a virtual reality trip to the moon. And,
they talk a bit. They do talk a bit, and she shares
yeah.
one of her actually dreams that she's never shared with anybody else. This is legit true.
Yeah,
She doesn't actually lie to him.
Yeah, she never actually lies to him.
She omits the truth a couple of times.
She admits the truth, which is that she's already called the rest of her crew to come by and pick up the fucking Sandeva stand.
Because she recognizes something that Maine, or Mace, sorry, is it Maine?
Maine. Yeah.
Maine was looking out for.
Yeah.
So yeah, the crew shows up and to basically represent, like, because Maine's pissed off. Is like, okay, what the fuck? I know the woman. I got to, what'd you do to the woman who got this for me? She's was
a
cool.
friend of mine. Fuck you. I liked her.
And like Dave's like, that was my mom. Maine's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that was my mom. She's dead. Fuck. Gloria's dead. I liked Gloria.
Shit. Well, shit. Okay. You know what?
I'm gonna give you a chance, kid.
Dave's like,
yeah, I know. I was going to butcher you right here, butcher you for your cybertech right here in Lucy's living room. No, you weren't from Lucy.
You were not getting blood on my carpet.
So this basically begins David's tutelage in the world of deniable corporate assets.
Yeah.
You meet the rest of the crew. You've got Maine, who's this, who's the big guy, who's both the big guy and the leader, and lots of cyber tech, like gigantic fucking robot arms with cannons inside them. Excellent character design. I love Maine's character.
Oh,
design.
he's great. Yep.
Dario, his girlfriend, who is just crazy ass good boxer. Pilar, the tech guy, who is just this loud, crazy pervert with too long arms, with too many jointed fingers on the end. And Kiwi, their hacker, and Lucy, their backup hanger. And eventually we also meet Rebecca, Pilar's little sister, and the best character in the whole show.
Apparently she wasn't actually going to be in the show at all.
Yeah, apparently Trigger was like, no, we need to have her. She's fun. And they fought tooth and nail with CD Projekt Red about getting her in there.
And I'm glad they did, because she's one of the bright spots of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So the rest of the first half is basically getting to know the crew.
Getting to know the crew and seeing David learn the ropes and... Yep. And the eventual sort of implosion of Maine's leadership, basically.
Yeah. And also like the re-warm up of David and Lucy, because there's definitely a romance there, and getting over the fact that she was going to turn him in to get butchered.
Yeah. Because like it's very clear that she actually there was something there, but she's like, I can't afford to have that right now.
Yeah.
But now that David's actually a part of they're actually a part of the world to get, like, it's like, okay, well, now that you know there's no longer in my absolute best interest to screw you over. Like, there's literally like, you're not someone I know, and it's like...
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. She pretty much assumes that, like, he hates her, and and rightly so. So she's being courteous but standoffish.
Yep.
Because now he's part of the crew. And it takes him a while to convince her, like, no, I forgive you, I get it.
Like, I get why you did that. I was angry in the moment, but like, dude, Lucy, like, this world sucks. I get it. Like, and like, yeah, you were helping your teammate and friend. Like,
yeah,
like, that is an understandable betrayal. Like, it sucks.
I mean, this is the thing as well. In this particular world that they live in, like, I find it difficult to believe that he'd like hold. I mean, I get it from her point of view, but I wouldn't expect him to hold a grudge anyway, considering he's joined the fucking team that were about to jump him anyway.
Yeah.
In this world of all things, it's like he benefited from this, kinda.
I mean, the big thing is that there's an indirect connection between Maine and David through David's mom, Gloria.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like that little bit of human connection makes a lot of difference, it turns out. Who knew?
Yeah, shocking that.
And like
Maine is, to this point, Maine is like the first person we've seen with any kind of empathy.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And then we get to get to know Dorio, who's fucking awesome. She's great.
Yeah, Dorio's great.
Amazing. Dorio deserves to
And
do a lot more.
I agree.
Rebecca might be the only person legitimately happy we see in the show.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because she honestly Rebecca is the absurdist ideal.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean that from like a philosophical point.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's a terrible, shitty world to the point of absolute lunacy, and she just takes it all in stride, shrugs, and says, "Whatever. I'm going to have as much fun as I can. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to find what meeting I can, and
I think the important thing about
make as many friends as I can along the way."
I think the important thing about Rebecca as well is that she's not like crazy.
No,
She's not psychotic. She's not the creepy one that just gets off on violence, or or that.
Like
that
she
kind
enjoys
of,
explosions a bit too much.
She
maybe
enjoys
but...
explosions, and she's no problems killing people.
Right.
But she's
and
there
God,
like
she loves heavy weaponry.
Oh yeah.
yes, but she's there to grab life by the balls.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And that, and just so happens that in this world that might mean offing a few dudes.
Right. And
So
Dorio is actually just
grabbing people by the balls.
Dorio has actually found actual fucking happiness because, like,
Rebecca
she's found. So Dorio to a bit degree also.
Yeah.
Like Dorio, like she's got Maine, and like the crew is pretty good, and her life doesn't it's dangerous and it's bad, but like
it's not as bad as it could be.
Right, and she's
yeah.
So she's actually a little bit happy actually, which is like, of course, means that she's doomed, but
Yeah. And we meet the crew's primary fixer, Faraday.
Oh my god.
Creepy motherfucker with 4 eyes, 3 of them on one side.
Yep.
Voiced by
Giancarlo Esposito.
I was about to say, can we just mention at this point the actual voice cast they got for this?
Yeah.
Like, they're not all big name dudes, but the ones they got did amazing work.
I mean, everybody did a good job. Let me just say this right now.
Everyone did an excellent job with this, yeah.
And also Matthew Mercer's in there, so
Yeah. But like I can't get over the character design in the show. Everyone is just fucking spot on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we find out about this big thing where Faraday's like playing things very close to the vest, but he needs the crew to get certain data, and a lot of the jobs revolve around getting this data. And eventually, like, Maine's last big job happens, where they picked up an Arasaka Corp who turns out to be David's bully's dad, who it turns out saw the footage of David beating up his son, went, that kid has exceptionally high tolerance for cybernetics to be able to do that with that kind of tech at his age with that frame. I want him on board. I want to test shit on him.
Yep.
Give him whatever he wants. So
Yeah,
the principal's tries a couple times to call David up and go, hey, you've got a full ride in light of the recent tragedy. Yeah, tragedy. So you should totally just come back to school. Would you like to do that, please?
At which point David would usually hang up.
Yeah, or tell him to fuck off.
Which is a good job, considering like the second he showed up for fucking class the first day, they'd put a needle in his neck, and after that he probably wouldn't be human anymore.
Exactly. Oh, we know exactly what would happen to him. We see it later in the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and throughout this entire arc, we're seeing Maine starting to show the beginnings of cyberpsychosis. In fact, we see another cyberpsycho before it really starts to become noticeable with Maine, who just a cyberpsycho pissing in the street. Everyone sort of goes slightly. mightily disgusted by it and walks by. Pilar decides to pick on the dude. Didn't realize the guy was a cyber psycho, and the dude promptly blows Pilar's head off, and a firefight ensues.
Yep.
Well, it's not that. It's more that Pilar, he knew he was a cyber psycho, but he thought he was like passive.
Yeah.
Because most cyber psychos, when you see that sort of thing, it's like they're on a rampage. But no, this dude just doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
He stood up on a shipping container, pissing with his dick out. You know,
Yeah.
and Pilar's last like words is like, "Wow, dude, did you get your dick done? Talk about hard iron." Bang.
Yeah.
Because the guy's like hand is opened up and there's a gun inside.
This cyber psycho turns out to be David's first actual kill, also, which he does. Which he does to save both Rebecca and Lucy.
Yep.
Because Lucy's completely lost it because this fucker's like shot her brother. Like Rebecca, yeah. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I can see her clearly in my head.
Right, yeah.
Like, she's completely gone, like, like, gun-happy berserker at this guy. And Lucy just gets caught in a bad way, so scoops up Becca, stuffs her in a fucking car, and zips over and shoots the psycho in the head before he gets a bead on Lucy.
Yep.
And turns out to be that's David's first kill.
Yep.
Yeah, they do a good job actually with that because, like I said, the first psycho we've seen was just Captain Violence.
Right.
There was no like indication of his mental state or what was going on with him.
Yeah, he just starts opening up on cops.
He just starts opening up on cops and destroys everyone. Then we see the other side of the cyberpsychosis where it's the brain that's gone.
Yeah.
You know, this guy was completely like catatonic until Pilar started fucking with him.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he sees enemies where there aren't any kind of situation.
Yeah. It's actually also the first time we see a real malfunction with main cyberware, and then he tries to deploy his arm cannon, and it twitches on him. He can't get it to... He can't get it out.
I mean, and taking the note, we've seen like almost every single scene of, well, virtually, at least with Maine at rest and not actively doing anything. Every single scene with Maine has him injecting neuroblockers.
Yeah.
So like he's dosing quite regularly to get these things to work.
And we start seeing like his hands shaking a little bit every once in a while, or like he drops a food container, that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they pick up this corpo. They have to move to another site. They've got Kiwi doing a deep dive into his into the data storage in the back of his neck. Maine's starting to lose his shit more and more, until eventually he just knocks out Kiwi for no good reason. And seriously knocks her out, knocks her faceplate off. Like Kiwi's has a cybernetic cover over the lower half of her face.
Yeah, she actually doesn't have a lower jaw from what I can tell.
Yeah, he hits her hard enough to knock that off, and then he's like, "What happened? What happened to Kiwi? Did we get jumped? I didn't see anything." Dora's like, "You fucking asshole! Come on." They call David and Lucy to have Lucy go and finish the job, and Lucy's thing is, okay, like she's completely freaked out because it's Arasaka.
Yeah, she has history. Yeah.
She has history, which she has not told anyone about, including David. So she's completely freaked out by the idea of going anywhere near Arasaka.
And also the fact that Maine is on the edge. She's like, okay.
Maine is teetering on the edge. She's like, okay, cool. Eventually, after like getting a pep talk from David, she's like, okay, here's the deal. Maine's nowhere near the room. I don't even want him in the fucking building. Okay, well, he's got to be in the building. Fine, but I don't want him in the room. 2, I do this quick and fast, and no one ever mentions it again. Okay. 3, David's my backup. You got to go too, Dorio. Fine.
And like that's a very much a case of Doria's like, yeah, I probably should be the one hanging with Maine because I might be.
Yeah, I'm clearly the one that needs to watch Maine.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lucy deep dives into the Arasaka corpo, who starts to come to enough to talk David and basically tell David what was going on, sort of. Like, hey, dude, I was the one that fucking tried to get you back into school. Why don't you help me? They're gonna kill me, you know.
Yeah.
They're just gonna, like...
David's not quite all there in you know, in the pragmatism of the situation.
Yeah.
He's under the impression that when they're done, they're just gonna let the dude go, and the corpo's like, dude, I've seen their faces. There's not a chance I'm being let go.
And he's right.
Like, no, but why? But dude, Arasaka is going to come after you. Militech's going to come after you. What's Militech got to do this? Who do you think fucking hired you? This reeks of Militech, our biggest competitor.
Yep.
Until eventually, Lucy finds not what she was looking for, because it's not there, but something else she's very concerned about, and just burns his brain as a result.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know that. Like, David doesn't know that. Dario and Maine don't know that. But Lucy fucking did it.
We find out. We find out later that's what she did. Yeah, that
Yeah.
she was the one. Shit. Yeah, his head blows, and we don't find out till later that it was Lucy who did it.
Yeah.
He's still technically alive.
Yeah, alive enough for
And
the
trauma.
surge that does it. Yeah, and the surge that does it blows their jammer, so it pings trauma team, which basically mean trauma team is no joke. They come in guns blazing to get someone
Yeah,
to get one of your clients.
They're technically an ambulance, but they're a
They are armed response.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're an armed response that take people away that they like,
Yeah.
rather than they don't.
People not that they like it.
Well,
people
People
that
that
pay
have
them.
paid.
Yeah, but they like people that have paid them.
No, they don't. There's no like involved
Sure,
here.
there's no judgment on whether they like that.
They don't give a damn. They don't care one way or another. If you're paying,
Okay.
you're a client.
I apologize for trying to apply some sign of positivity to this.
Nope.
setting.
There's
Not the trauma team, dude. We
Not the
saw
trauma
what they
team.
did to people they like.
Yeah.
So trauma team goes, got shots fired, huh? Call the cops too. There might be trouble. We could use a meat shield.
yeah.
Which is when Maine starts completely losing it when people start shooting at him.
Right.
And long story short, Maine and Dario die. David gets out. David and Lucy get out.
Yep.
Time skip. We don't know exactly how long. Doesn't matter.
Not really important.
Um,
Long enough for David to get a lot of cybernetics done and to grow and to mature enough to be a team leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he and Lucy now are now having a place together. They are definitely an item.
Oh, they basically started becoming an item before this, but this is cement. No, they are definitively.
They are in a committed relationship with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only major change really is that Lucy has kind of taken a back seat.
She is no longer running.
Yeah,
she's no longer running.
Recoiled essentially from everything that happened, which is fair considering she was in a fair bit of psychological trauma at the time at the end of the last episode 6. I will say as well at this point, this is one thing that I discussed when we first watched this. I do think this is very much a show of two halves.
Oh, absolutely.
Up to episode 6 is all prelim, is all build up.
Yep.
And it's his own show essentially. Like if this was a full blown movie, that's where movie 1 ends to be continued.
Right.
The last 4 episodes are completely their own thing. Yes, there's a time skip involved as well, but I think the tone is very different as well.
The tone is different because things are both more and less serious.
Mm-hmm.
One, Rebecca's a much bigger part of the crew. She is David's best friend. The two are inseparable. She is clearly carrying a gigantic torch, like Gondor calls for aid kind of torch.
I mean,
but they will not answer.
She is not subtle about it, though.
No, and she's not subtle about it.
No, she doesn't
literally yell at him. I'm not so good at just friends several times.
Right.
The thing is, though, go on.
I was going to say the one thing is that it's very clear she doesn't. That no one knows that David and Lucy are actually an item.
Right.
They just know that they're like he still contacts her, but they don't know that they're actually living together.
Yeah.
Because it is pretty clear to me that Rebecca thinks David is free.
Yeah. but at the same time, they're best friends, and
Yeah. She is okay. She is totally okay with David saying no.
Yeah, she's okay with David saying no. Doesn't mean she's not going to ask again because she thinks he's available.
Right.
But she's okay with him saying no.
Oh, you're not. That's cool.
Like I said,
you're still my Droog. We're still Droogs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're still Droogs, and they're absolutely besties.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They frankly trust each other more than David and Lucy do.
They do actually, which is
yeah.
which turns out to be a big problem.
Yeah, because we find out why Lucy hasn't been running. It's because she has been running. She's just been hunting Arasaka data jockeys, making sure that no trace of David is left in their system.
Yeah.
Because it turns out they were hunting for David. The information in the Corpo's brain was they were hunting for David to turn him into another fucking atom smasher.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they'd have expanded a little bit more on this part of it, because it only really happens in one episode, and then the next one when she gets trapped. Yeah, I mean, I can completely understand that, with the thing between Rebecca and David, just because, like we said before, Rebecca's just so upfront. Like, there's no bullshit with her. Whereas
there's a lot of bullshit with her, but like,
well,
you know what I mean.
bullshit, but it's not dishonest bullshit.
You're right.
It's nonsense, but it's not bullshit. Whereas with Lucy, she's got so much past and so many secrets and a lot of baggage weighing her down, and I know it's you don't offload everything onto people. That's fair enough, but it's a bit of a trope where it's like, I can't do this. I need to do this alone. This is my problem, not yours. Okay, fine.
The thing is, we know that we're told several times that Kiwi basically like taught Lucy everything she knows about running, not about net running. It's because Lucy was basically decanted to be a net runner from a corporate program, but Kiwi taught Lucy everything she knows about the streets. Kiwi also repeatedly says can't trust no one. It's something that Lucy sadly takes very much to heart. So she can't trust David as much as everything she does is for him. She can't trust him with the truth because it's something that plus her shit ass upbringing by.
Oh Jesus! The shit that Arasaka put her through.
Yeah, like no, she's really bad at trusting people.
Yeah, it's understandable. It sucks, and and I will say flatly, like, it is the big lesson you learn from this that you can take big takeaway from the show is you've got to be empathetic and trust people, otherwise you're fucked.
Yes,
that this is like it, like without that you can't be human. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, a lot of Lucy and David's problems would have been solved had the two of them sat down and talked to each other for about 2 hours openly and honestly.
Right. Yeah. At the same time, like, so much of that shit is also like, it's telegraphed in their characters from the first episode.
Absolutely.
And everything we know. Right? Like, for them to do that, it would be breaking their character.
Oh no, I agree. I'm not saying no. Again, I'm not saying this is a flaw. This is a. It turns out that, like, if you were trying to solve their problems, this is how you would solve them.
Right, but it's impossible for Lucy in particular to do. David's just kind of dumb.
His emotional intelligence is not the best.
Yeah,
he's very smart about some things.
He's very smart about a lot of things, but a lot of other things he's very dumb because dude at this point is like maybe early 20s
at best.
Yeah.
Well, he was, I think 17, I think somebody said, when he was in the school section.
Yeah. So yeah, by now he's probably like 20, 21.
Benefit of the doubt and everything, he's like early 20s at this point.
Yeah.
At his oldest.
Yeah.
So yeah. Arasaka bullshit. Faraday rears his head again, trying to get data on the cyber skeleton. It turns out what he was looking for the whole time. Arasaka is like trying to find out who's been fucking with their shit to get this cyber skeleton, and
who's gacking their data jocks.
And who's gacking their data jocks. They're also pretty sure these probably aren't related, but let's let's cast a wide net, see what we catch.
If it is related, that would be very, very helpful.
That would be convenient.
Turns out they are related. How convenient.
As far as Arasaka is concerned, casting a wide net is trying to off Militech fixers to see who decides to turn their coat.
Right.
Which, guess what? Faraday does exactly that.
Yeah.
Something I love, and you need to be watching for it. So, like, you see these two Arasaka Corpo data jockeys, or internal security, or whatever they are, talking a lot of the time. And there's a certain thing in the background that's always there. That, like, just a few, like, red lines of maybe part of an outline. And, like, it turns out later on in the last episode, the whole time, Adam Smasher, this giant borged-out psychopath, has been in the background, just sitting there literally twiddling his thumbs, waiting to be deployed.
By the way, an important note, psychopath, not cyber psycho. Very different.
Yes. Very different. He is not a cyber psycho. He is
just a monster. Just a monster.
He is just a monster. I was going to say he's just sane, but he's, like I said, he's a psychopath. He's perfectly lucid.
Yes.
Yeah. It's implied that there's very little meat left.
Oh no, he's basically full body cyborg.
There might be a few brains.
Might be a brain in a jar.
Yeah. We're pretty sure he's an organ bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's but yeah, no, he is not, he's a psychopath. He is a complete and utter monster. But Eric said he's completely lucid, he is in total control.
Yeah. And he's on Arasaka's payroll.
Yep. Adam Smasher, for those who played the game, he's like the big end boss you have to fight. And for those who played the tabletop game, he was one of those NPCs that was spoken about like a boogeyman.
Yep.
Like, and honestly, like, first time I saw this show, I hadn't played the game yet, and like, they mentioned him once or twice. It's like, oh yeah, I remember Adam Smasher from the tabletop, the boogeyman, because that's all he was. He didn't even have a stat block in the video.
Well, if you give if you give a character a stat block in a tabletop RPG, the players will try to kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, as far as I know, he never had a stat block. Like, he's mentioned that, like, the same way like Johnny Silverhand or Nomad Santiago is. It's just these legends of Edgerunner.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the point. So Faraday turns his coat, puts together this lunatic plan to get David, Lucy, who he's figured out is the one who's hunting all of Arasaka's boys, and get Arasaka a field test on their super awesome cyber skeleton. All of which are the plan to get him actually hired and climbing the corporate ladder. That's his goal.
Yep.
And it turns out his plan largely works. Gets David off on a job to intercept an Arasaka convoy, which has been conveniently set up for him. Yep. Leaks the location of things to Militech, so they'll show up with a gigantic force to force David's hand. Picks up Lucy while she's off trying to off another data jockey, because it turns out that it was a trap that Faraday laid for her. And
with help from a certain person.
Oh yeah. With help from Kiwi, because Kiwi's like Kiwi said, can't trust anybody.
She is a vet, and she is very, very opportunistic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like almost heartbreaking, where literally there's a conversation between Kiwi and Lucy in regards to what's going on between her and David and the crew and everything else. And literally one of the last things that Kiwi says to Lucy is, don't trust anyone. I at least taught you that much.
Yeah.
Before setting the trap that gets Lucy caught.
Yeah. she basically she telegraphs, like, watch out, shit's weird, because I'm making it weird. So yeah, the whole thing goes like completely bombastic, crazy. David installs the cyber skeleton to save the crew from the
Militech.
From Militech, which makes him look like a prototype Space Marine dreadnought. It's cool. It's completely over the top. It's over the top for Cyberpunk.
The
Yeah,
second,
absolutely grounded for a trigger.
Yes.
For a trigger finale.
the second that cyber skeleton comes into play, that's when Trigger take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it
That's
is
when it
Eric's
goes
right.
for
It
Trigger.
is grounded for Trigger.
It's remarkably restrained and down to earth for Trigger.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
no
at
aliens.
no
Actually-
point do we have a giant space waifu.
I do have one question, actually, Eric, that
Sure.
just occurred to me.
Sure.
So, what the hover car things, like the flying cars that Trauma Team use?
Yes.
What do they use for lifts? I don't remember.
They use. I don't remember off. Dude, it's been.
Do they
literally
have
decades
thrusters or anything like that, or are
They
they
have
using
thrusters. Yes, I know they have thrusters. I don't remember if they use anything else.
Do they use GravTech? Because if they use GravTech, then makes the cyber skeleton at least a little
I
explainable.
honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been literally decades since I've looked
one
at
of the
Cyberpunk.
main over-the-top abilities the cyber skeleton has is these gravity manipulator things, and I think they have some sort of. It allows them to basically fly. Also to just crush things into the ground under massive weights of gravity, and to pull guns away from enemies and such. And
Yeah,
it's utterly it is 100% rule of cool shit. It is.
Oh yeah.
Bad shit, and if I was in a better headspace, I would have enjoyed this more.
The anti-grav tech built into the cyber skeleton is also the only thing that lets it move.
Right. Oh,
Because it's gigantic and bulky, and it's a prototype, so nothing bends correctly.
right.
And because it's a prototype, David's torso, which is all that's left of him, is hanging right out in the open to get shot.
Yep.
It's a prototype. It's proof of concept. It's not actual combat gear yet, which I appreciate because it lets them have David out there being actually vulnerable and able to express himself.
Yep. No, I think one of the most the saddest moments, honestly, is after he's been tricked into and convinced to getting into it by Faraday, pretending to be Lucy. Lucy does get to call David, tries to convince him not to, but it's way too late already.
Yeah.
And she basically hears the final stages of it happening. She's like, oh.
Yeah. And poor Rebecca's like, this is so stupid. I can't believe I'm helping you do this. This is fucking dumb. Don't you dare turn on the Sandevistan. You turn on the fucking Sandevistan. Fuck you, David.
Oh, you're using it at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
You fucking moron, David!
Rebecca absolutely owns this entire second.
Oh my
half
god,
of
yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I said, the bit where she realizes he's getting close because he goes to the Ripperdoc to try and get sorted out, and he's like, "Look, here's the last dose I'm ever going to give you, because seriously, you carry on like this, there's not going to be nothing left.
Yeah.
Here's your last dose. It's like 9 times as effective as what I've normally given you. Don't come back."
Yeah.
And she catches him basically taping these vials to himself so that he can inject himself at any given point. And she's like, just, okay, sit down. You know, you're on the job, but don't activate the Sandevistan. Just we'll do this the clean way. First second, something goes wrong, he activates Sandevistan and fucks about the car. And she's like, so apparently he needs fucking ear implants now.
That's the thing, just the degree, again, Becca absolutely owns the last half of the show because the degree of tenderness both she and David show each other in a completely platonic way.
Yeah.
Despite her being hot for him, it's entirely platonic. The warmth she shows him is completely lacking in every other aspect of the show and this world, and it's this warm heart at the core of this ice cold shitstorm.
Yep.
Seriously, Becca's the heart of the show.
Oh god, yeah. No, especially the second half, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just in the second half so much more. She really can't be the heart of the first half.
Yeah. Well, it's David in it. David's the heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the two most empathetic people in the show, legitimately. Yeah. 2 of the 3, it's them and Lucy, basically.
And it's a joy watching Becca just go to town with twin assault rifles, run dry, giggle, and pull out the 2 heavy machine guns.
That is my favorite scene. It's literally the reintroduction to the group in episode 7.
Yeah.
And Becca's there with twin machine guns, going crazy. click, 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 and one of the smart ass, and she's like, "Oh, no more bullets." And one of the smart ass is like, "Ha, stupid little bitch. Now what are you gonna? Now it's time for the big guns."
I love Becca so much. I'm pretty sure I've played Becca at some point in some game.
Now it's time for the
So
big
yeah,
guns.
So yeah, the big crazy Churra-esque fight scene happens. The whole time David's losing grip on reality more and more as time goes on. Like just auto loaders for the friggin' neuro blockers just ejecting him every few minutes.
Yeah.
And they're just they're trying to get Lucy because Lucy's come to enough to go, okay, yeah, I'm back online, guys. Here's a tracker. Follow me. Come get me. No, she doesn't say come get me.
No, the tracker wasn't placed by her.
It's right. It was placed by Kiwi.
Kiwi basically is she's Faraday turns on her unsurprisingly. She kind of saw coming. So she took up most of his goons, but the last one gets her, and she's lying there dying. She's like, okay, guys, it's my fault. Lucy's caught. Business. That's all I'm going to say. But I did put a tracker on Faraday's car, so if you want to go get her, go get her. What is this? Some sort of revenge? No. It's not revenge, really. I'm not angry. It's more that if I'm going out, I'm taking the fucker with me.
Yeah, it was along the lines of, I've always said don't trust anybody.
He needs to learn this lesson, too.
It's about time Faraday, got a taste of it himself.
So yeah, a big lunatic chase scene trying to get to Faraday's
hover car,
flight car. The two Arasaka internal security goons going, well, this is a shit show. Oh, they called in Max Tech. Yep, this is.
Are they headed? They're headed directly. Why are they headed directly here?
Well, this is way beyond a field test. So Faraday thinks he's getting a reward, huh? Yeah. Well, someone's taking the fall. Guess who? Is it Faraday? No, it's you. Go down and get there and tell him to fuck off.
It's a great scene. The head exec is just like, okay, alert the security team. And she's like, and the junior's like, well, that's going to alert like the higher ups. They're gonna know what we're doing. Oh, they're gonna know what you're doing. What?
Yeah. Yeah, because too late for that. Everything's gone to shit. Someone's taking the fall. Guess who?
Yeah.
So you're going to deal with Faraday. David is going to be handled. The cyber cell is going to be handled by Adam.
And you see him just sort of go, actually look up from the corner. As suddenly the show actually puts him into light, full light, and you realize he's been there the whole fucking time.
You've got work for me. Good. It might even be fun for you, Adam.
Unlikely. It's a child's toy.
The junior was actually not even aware.
No.
Yeah.
Like the senior was.
He's like, what the fuck did he come from?
Smasher. Yeah, we'll have to call him Adam Smasher. And he goes, Adam Smasher. Well, how are we gonna get him? Where even is he? And he's like, it's fine. He's been here the whole time. What?
He has that look on his face. Where the fuck did you come from?
And he's been sitting in the shadows in the corner, just like a few highlights from the fucking video banks gleaming off his armor. It looks like just a pile of tech.
There, chilling on that couch like fucking Thanos.
Yeah. And I like what they do with Adam Smasher here. Like he is actively frightening. He's
oh sure,
yeah, and he is also a complete fucking edgelord ham, as he should. Yeah.
It's almost to the point where he doesn't even. And this is take this with the skew that I'm trying to apply to it. He actually doesn't even seem to be that bad a guy. Like he's very pragmatic. He's very blunt. It's like nothing personal.
He's largely bored during most of the fight.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, sure. This might be entertaining.
Yeah, during the fight with Adam Smasher, David activates the Send Evistan, so Adam Smasher activates it. So you have a Send Evistan? Yeah, it's a
basic equipment.
Pretty common piece of tech where I'm from.
Yes, it's very high-end military stuff. Guess who's very high-end military?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, if you didn't think Addison, this is not a unique piece of tech, David. People are able to identify it.
The only time we see Adam Smasher express anything resembling an emotion is when Lucy and their driver Falco make a break for him. It's like, no, wait, fuck you, no one leaves.
Yeah.
This is right after he kills my girl.
Yeah. Alas,
Yeah.
poor Rebecca.
Yeah.
I mean, she goes out like a motherfucking boss.
Oh God,
Yeah.
yes.
Like Becca and Falco manage to scoop up Lucy. They're stuffing her in the car, and Becca's like, "Okay, listen, I get it. He loves you and all of that. I just want you two to be happy." And Lucy's like, "Wait, what? Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm giving you my blessing or anything." And then as Smasher starts falling from the ceiling, firing guns, she gets really angry, points her shotgun straight up and screams, "I'm trying to have a moment." And then he lands on her.
Moment. Yeah.
Uh,
No, yeah. The whole setup for that is basically Adam and David end up being thrown out of the top floor of the Arasaka building. So they've been falling the whole way. David gets down quicker because apparently Adam took the elevator halfway.
Because Adam went, it's faster, but
yeah,
I really don't have to go through maintenance for my legs for this.
But yeah, it is this that like I said, that great line is like, we're trying to have a turn-up. Machine gun firing up into Adam, who just lands on her and crushes her.
Yeah.
Alas.
But that is Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
And hell, she went out better than her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean that was a very. I will say this. That was a very JoJo death.
Yes.
Like that is all. Like fuck. Araki would have stood up and applauded that one.
Yeah.
It's a common saying in the games as well. You don't make a name for yourself how you live, it's how you die.
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting personally iced by Adam Smasher made her a legend.
She's a fucking legend. No.
Oh yeah. And yeah, so Falco and Lucy get away. Adam Smasher kills David.
Yeah.
Like there's surprise, David doesn't survive the show. The opening tells you David does not survive the show.
Yeah. No, the big one of the big notes that we forgot to mention is that David does the trip down. David does save Lucy on the way down, but she's falling. Yeah, and they get to have a last conversation before they touch down. Then he hands her off.
She saves him also.
Oh, yeah.
Completely lost it, and that their connection manages to pull him out of Cyber Psychos.
Yep.
Yeah,
and he's able to do the rest of the fight against Smasher, completely lucid with all his wits about him.
Yeah.
Yep. Again,
the actual conversation between David and Smasher is actually kind of interesting as well.
Oh, it is. Yeah, sure. Like David is just good enough that by the end after the fight's over, Smasher's like, you actually provide me a moment of actual entertainment. Well done.
I suppose you could make a competent construct.
And David's like, fuck you.
Oh well. Pot.
Yeah. You kind of like that as well. Like even in that moment, Adam Smasher recognizes potentially someone like him.
Yeah.
That has that resilience and can handle all the augmentations, and it's his way of offering him almost a case of what you see here. Do you wanna?
Yeah.
David's like, fuck no.
Oh well. And that's the thing. We like something else. Everyone remarks about David being special and his particular resilience for cyberware and how, and he talks about how comfortable he is in it, as opposed to how he always felt ungainly and trapped by flesh. Very, very adaptus mechanicus there.
Yeah.
The flesh is weak.
And he's not wrong. He is special. He's got a lot of he's got an outrageous amount of cyberware with an only now just now starting to show the signs of the deterioration.
Right.
Like he is special in that way. but it's not enough in this world.
Nope.
And a Smasher is also special in that way. He's still a dog for the corpse. Like, Chest being special isn't enough.
Yep.
And that's another message. Like, this world sucks. This is a cautionary tale. Don't let things get this bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like a perversion of his mom's dream as well. It's like, he could take that option and be, an employee of Arasaka.
Yeah.
As a meat bucket in a robot suit.
Yeah, he'd get all the perks. He'd get everything he'd want. Like, Anna Smasher is very well taken care of.
Yep.
Like, he can do pretty much whatever he wants. Like, he doesn't have to worry about money or food or maintenance on his tech.
Right.
Or even keeping up with the latest tech, because guess who gets all the best prototypes? Him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once they are actually tested, so at least.
That just shows how valuable he is to them. They don't test prototypes on him.
Right.
Yeah. Like, if the cyber skeleton was a success, it was going to be his next.
Yep.
And Smasher is kind of disdainful of it. It's like it's a giant ungainly piece of crap that completely depended upon anti-grav tech to even move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's actually how he beats David. Is he figures out, the anti-grav generators, that's just letting you move, and he breaks those.
Yep. But yeah, Lucy makes it out, and she gets to the moon. She gets to go to the moon, which is what her dream was. Unfortunately, she didn't get to go there with David, which is kind of what her dream became.
Yeah.
But she gets out and is
she gets out. Because the last payment, it was like 2 million was the payout for the job.
Yeah.
And they still get the payment because it was in escrow or something.
Yeah.
There's no question about them getting paid. Like, as far as we know, Faraday dies, by the way. Faraday literally gets his head popped by accident.
Yeah.
He's getting picked up by Trauma Team because, David describes him. Gets picked up by Trauma Team. I think it's Adam Smasher accidentally knocks over the fucking Trauma Team medevac.
Yeah.
And he splats like an egg on the pavement.
He goes full on Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's basically the show.
Yeah.
The show ends with Lucy sort of looking out at Earth from the moon and remembering David, and that's sort of where we end,
Yeah.
I have heard rumor that this is kind of hinting towards the story with that they use in the game. That the memory isn't necessarily just a memory because of how good of a hacker she is, but I think that's
she used the fucking soul killer on him?
No, but it's kind of like a not a prototype, but again, I think it's somebody reaching.
Yeah. You can sort of, maybe it's a sort of like a memory construct of David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based off her memories.
Because I remember the soul killer from the tabletop. It was another big boogeyman. I was surprised they used the video game, honestly.
It's basically somebody piecing her link to Arasaka and experimental stuff to
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
But that, like I say, I think it is somebody reaching.
Yeah,
I think it's somebody reaching. I think somebody wanting a second season, and there's no way, dude. How do you have a second season to this?
The way you have a second season is an entirely different story.
Yeah, exactly.
Different
it's an anthology. Yeah, it becomes an anthology.
Yeah, sure, you could do that. Absolutely.
And you know what? I'd be down for that. I don't think Trigger is.
Yeah.
But because Trigger really pulls that kind of shit. But I'd be down for that. I'd want the same staff behind it because holy crap, they knocked this out of the park. They know what they're doing.
The only problem I see there is that the obvious story then is the other side of it, where you do the corpo falling from grace. Except that's the plot of the game.
If you do a corpo.
Well, if you do Corpo,
Why would you do a corpo? Because they're terrible.
Eric,
yeah.
you like redeemed villain stories.
This is true. I do enjoy my villain stories.
Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. It's because my main was a Corpo. So yeah, there are other beginning stories.
Yeah,
You played Cyberpunk as a corpo. Nah, Street Kid all the way. Maybe Nomad for your second playthrough, but always Street Kid starting out.
Fine, we've had the Street Kid. Now we want the Corpo.
At any rate, that is Cyberpunk. As I said at the beginning, I mean, we should go into final thoughts, I guess.
Sure.
So yeah, Eric, you got it first.
All right. So
No, this was
I
Eric's
love
show,
this.
wasn't it?
No, sorry.
Oh yeah, it is my show.
Gav, then me, then Eric. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think like I'm somewhere in the middle ground on this one. Now, like I like it. It's not one that I was terribly fussed about watching again. Like it wouldn't have been what
I'd already seen it.
Oh yeah. I saw it when it
Okay.
first came. It is a fun show, and I did pick up a little bit more the second time around, just mostly because I knew what was coming. But I absolutely understand Peter's point as well, where it's like, yeah, it's well made, it's a good show, but it's maybe not for everyone. As I say, I'm kind of the halfway mark between these two. The usual, it's a Netflix with a budget, so the animation is on point for the most part. There's a couple of little bits, but that's I think more stylistic than anything else. It's well written. The cast, like as I already mentioned, is stellar in places, and at worst, good. Which is like I say, Giancarlo Esposito especially, and Rebecca's voice actress. Who I've got her name, but I don't want to do a discredit, is Alex Cazares. She's phenomenal. But yeah, it's one of those shows I would definitely recommend to go and see once at the very least if you like it. It's certainly, in the genre, if that's your kind of thing. By all means, go and watch it. You don't have to play the game. It's not. It's a tie-in, but it's not reliant on it. And in some cases, if you're not familiar with the backstory, with the lore and all that kind of stuff, it may very well act as a primer if you do want to play the game. Because a lot of the locations are in the game. They actually went back and added in a few locations. You can actually go to Rebecca and Pilar's apartment and find a unique gun there. I believe, if I'm correct. And David's apartment, I think, is in there as well. But like I say, definitely give it a go. If it's your thing, great. If it's not, don't worry about it. It's going to be one of those things that some people love, some people bounce.
Yeah. Now, as I said at the beginning, this was not my cup of tea. Let's just put it that way. I was not in the right. I've been in sort of a bad headspace for a couple of weeks, and I'm out of it mostly now. But like, the timing on this turned out to be not good. But it's also just not like there's something about it that I just viscerally just did not like, and it's not a. It's a visceral reaction, not a conscious objective. Like, all appreciation art is subjective to a degree, but there's nothing like I can put my finger on directly. Other than, there's something about it that reminds me of the stuff I don't like about Tarantino's movies in general. There are a few Tarantino has movies I like, and there are episodes of this I enjoyed immensely, and there's stuff in here I really liked. Like, I thought Rebecca was a great character, and she had some of her moments in the final half were brilliant, and the character writing is great. It's a well-written, well-produced, the score is great. The music's incredible, like, legitimately. Like, the visual, like, ignoring the animation, which is Trigger, so it's going to be at least competent at worst, but it's generally very good. But, like, the visuals are often stunning in their... they alternate between, like, these, like, pristine, like, the better parts of the city, and like even the squalor of the inner city is legitimately stunning, and it's the detail and how it's done. Like there's all sorts of background details that are just really cleverly done and like tell you lots about the setting, which is great. And again, like it's it is in large a draw. It's not just film noir is the thing. It is also Greek tragedy. Like David is a tragic hero, like in the literal traditional like sense of the Greek tragedy thing. He's a good person with a big heart with one gigantic tragic flaw, which is he arguably cares too much for the people around him and not enough about himself. And that's what gets him to go over the edge and die in the end. And and again, like, wow, it's like it would be against the characters to do this, but man, they really need to actually fucking talk to each other.
Yeah. I know I had a big issue with it when we were discussing it at the end, and I haven't really brought it up in this one because we kind of talked it through then. But just like I say, my biggest main problem was that Maine was an absolute shining example to David of the dangers of what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does it.
Yeah, well,
almost identical. Almost the same implants.
Very similar ones. Yeah.
Exactly the same implants.
Actually, I think you might be right, yeah.
Yeah.
But, except for the Sandevistan, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like those are literally Maine's arms. He saved them from the explosion.
No, I will say, I will say that none of the twists really caught me off guard, is the one sort of minor quibble I have. But that was largely because by the time that they were started hinting at them, I had sort of I sort of disengaged enough that I was kind of, because I was not enjoying it, that I was sort of looking and going, okay, so what is the either the dumbest possible thing the person could do here, or the most cynical, backstabbingest thing they could do, and that usually got me to see, that's what's going to happen. And like,
I mean, genre savviness is a bitch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I was so not engaged that it just like I couldn't help but do that. Like, had I been more engaged, I don't think it would have noticed that as much, because they do a good job of it being there. Like we were talking about this with Kiwi, like when we were talking about after watching it. Kiwi is distancing herself from the crew and from the audience to make the betrayal make sense and B, not obvious. Despite that it is fucking obvious. She's telling you the whole time she's going to betray you.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, it's called foreshadowing.
Right, absolutely. But like, had I not been as sort of like pulled out from it as I was, I don't think I would have been as certain it was going to happen. It's sort of what I'm saying. Like, had I been more engaged, it would have to go, oh yeah, that makes sense. As opposed to, and she's going to betray them in 3, 2, there we go. But I'm not saying it's actually predictable. It's like, if you're really genre savvy and are looking for it, you can see the stuff coming. But you have to be actively looking for it, basically. But overall, it's really good. I just didn't enjoy it at all. I really wish I'd enjoyed it more, because it's that good. Like, so yeah, it's absolutely worth giving a shot. And I will say that most people I know will enjoy it more than I did. I think a lot. It's generally widely, sort of applauded and liked, and I totally get why. It's just not my thing.
No, that's fair.
And but with that, Eric, your pick.
So I love this show.
Mm-hmm.
That there is any criticisms I have are minor quibbles at best.
Right.
The writing's excellent. The character design is top notch. The animation's great. The characters are phenomenal. The voice acting is Like Gav said, the worst voice actor is merely very good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like thematically, I love it because it's very much a show about like gritty ultra violence and like the crushing weight of hyper capitalism, and but at the same time is very much a story about like people fighting that like human connection and like and empathy and pulling each other out of the worst holes. Because Dorio does it to Maine, as does David. Becca and Lucy for David. Just like yeah, just that's a central theme to the thing, and it's like and how corporate hypercapitalism like crushes the human spirit, and somehow this is also a game tie-in for a major corporation. Go figure. Talk about irony. It's like friggin' using punk songs to sell cars.
That didn't happen, Eric.
That's never happened. No one ever.
Joe
used
Starmer
London
totally
Calling to
is
sell a
not
car.
laughing about that to this day.
Yeah. No one ever used London Calling to sell a car.
Wait till you
A
see Johnny
Jaguar,
Rotten selling
a fucking Jaguar.
Yeah, no shit.
That's like London Calling for in a Jaguar advertisement. Just like,
Yeah. I mean, it's very much the same thing. It
Oh, yeah.
certainly,
Yeah.
certainly hits the same way.
it does.
So yeah, I really like. I really enjoy this show. My biggest quibble is that they sometimes use animation assets, which
They reuse them.
isn't
Yeah,
that
they did
big of
reuse
a
them a couple
deal
of-
because again, it's almost certainly a stylistic choice because it's fucking Trigger because they done that in a stylistic way in every one of their fucking shows.
Right.
Like, yeah, I two thumbs way up. I would have more, but I can't afford the payments of my extra arms.
All right. I think
See, there you go, Eric. In this world, you can have spider limbs. You just can't afford them.
Yeah.
that's gonna do it for this episode, folks. So it'll be a little while before we get back because Gav's gonna be traveling for a little while.
I'm going on holiday.
Which, you
Gav's
know-
going to the moon.
God knows I need it.
Totally fair. So, Gav, we're not even gonna ask you what you're picking because we got time.
Yeah, 'cause it's 1,000 years from now.
The live action One Piece.
I mean, I guess that would work.
No, because that doesn't
100th
even fit the
episode.
that's not even fit the loosest definition of anime. It's not animated in any way, shape, or form. It's live action.
I don't know. We are on episode 98. We need something special for 100.
Well, how about I don't know something?
Well,
Dumb.
I'm not just picking for 100. So.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
picking
yeah.
100, so yeah.
Either way, I've got a couple of weeks. I'll figure something out.
Yeah. That's going to do it for this episode, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. We will see you all next time. Take care. Have a great rest of your week, morning, whatever it is. I don't know. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Humies.